That Little Gay Talk Show, Houston's hot mess of a podcast. A funny but thoughtful look at the LGBTQIA+ community.
Hey, it's another episode of That Little Gay Talk Show. I'm one of the hosts, Joel Tatum.
And I am Wendy Taylor. How you doing, Joel?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Oh, I'm like, I'm here. Actually, I'm suffering for my art right now because I broke my nails off while I was setting up for this show. Mm-hmm. And I'd just like to say that it's perfect for Halloween because everything I've touched is bloody. How you doing, Kendra?
Okay.
Well, my Halloween's going to be a little bit boring. I'm just going to stay home and watch some horror movies. I have to work in the morning, so there's no going out. And I didn't go out this weekend, unfortunately, because I had to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning pretty much every morning this weekend. So
I got to have a blast this weekend because I went to Dallas to hang out with my BFF. Mm-hmm. And so I got to go see Al in Dallas, and we went to the black tie dinner that they have every year. They raise a bunch of money for the Human Rights Campaign this year, which was really great. And there were 3,000 gays there. And I think 2,999 of them talked to me. and then we left from there. I did Al's makeup. He went as Dead Pee Wee Herman, which is really great. And then, of course, I went as middle-aged punk rock Barbie, so myself. And we went to S4 where he headlined as the DJ. Oh my God, it was a blast, y'all. It was a blast. But I can tell you for sure that I am so tired of seeing people now because the 3,000 gays that were at the black tie dinner was the least amount of people I saw all night.
If it's gay, it can't be wrong. So
no, it can't be wrong.
Now that voice that you're listening to is our very special guest today. We have with us the president of Pride Houston Inc. 365, Kendra Walker.
Please hold your tomatoes.
Hold your tomatoes. I am super excited to have you on today to talk about what we're doing or what you've got coming up with Pride this year. I'm really excited to talk about your other businesses because a lot of people don't know that you own a couple of businesses too. You're a very succcersful businesswoman.
Actually, this is the part where I come in.
Oh, here we go.
Miss Kendra Walker, because we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk about entrepreneurship because I think we need to have a discussion on what being an entrepreneur really is, because that word keeps getting thrown around.
Yeah, it's like
and misused so many times.
Successful entrepreneur.
That part. So we're going to really get into talking about your businesses and you as a successful Black woman, which I'm so glad to have on the show. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to finally have a Black woman on the show. It just makes me so happy right now. It makes me so happy right now because I haven't had one in 3 years? And it's been all gay men.
Yeah, we've had a lot of gay men.
We've had gay men from all walks of life. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had lots of women on the show, but we've been pansexual. We've been bisexual. We've been every sexual. But I'm like, where are my lesbians?
Well, honey,
where are the lesbians? My God, finding a lesbian these days. Good God.
Well, it's because lesbians are like cats. When they get together, they nest. So a lot of them don't go out anymore. That's actually one of the reasons. One of my friends is a club owner out here. She was talking about it being really, really hard to do lesbian nights because when lesbians hook up, they disappear.
Are we going to be talking about lesbian stereotypes on this show?
Yes. It's so few successful lesbians that when you find one, they tend to want to lock them up in the cage.
Yeah, y'all act like y'all just put them.
If you bring
them out like twice a year, like for Halloween and for Pride. I'm like, really? Yay, lesbians exist. Look at that.
Goodness. Goodness. Yeah. So, all right. Let's talk about Kendra Walker.
And Pride 365.
Oh, no, we're going to get into that later.
Oh, are we going to get into it later?
Yeah, we're going to get into that later.
Because I need to hear all. Because, y'all, let me tell y'all something. For those of you watching and for those of you listening, y'all should have heard the conversation before we got on the air. Ooh. These people have stuff to say about stuff when it comes to Pride 365. And that other Pride group is going to be interesting.
We just want to give some context and some factual information.
Yes.
But, like they say, most of this factual information can be found down at the courthouse if anybody wants to.
You know what? I'm already hearing shade already.
Well, because people will listen to gossip.
I'm hearing shade already.
When all of the factual documents, that means documents that can actually be proven with receipts, are literally sitting online, Harris County District Clerk Office.
Right.
Okay.
Federal. It's not hard to find.
No, it's not.
If you really wanted to know, so.
But they don't want to know. That's the thing. They want to just they want to have a barroom conversation and base their feelings completely off of what their friend says or what they overheard at the bar or saw a comment on Facebook, and they just go off of that like it's fact. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand that. Critical thinking is incredibly lacking.
Now, the beautiful thing about today's episode is that my co-host was a former member of the board. She recently just resigned. She has so many other projects that she didn't really have a choice. And that's what I'm going to say. No. That's what I'm going to say. She's going to have a lot more to say other than that, but that's what I'm going to say. Okay? I don't want to take the voice from her, but that's what I'm going to say.
I had a choice and I had a voice and I voiced it and I made my choice. And that's why we're sitting here today the way that it is. I've been, and I know Kendra will say, I have no bones about speaking my opinion. I have no shame in how I feel about the way that I feel about things, and I usually have no problem explaining that and my reasoning behind any of it. I'm also not against being able to accept new information. Mm-hmm. I do find, however, that other people really are.
Or they just don't have anything new.
Or they don't have anything new.
Well, let's bring some context in this because I think people are going to be going, what are they talking about?
We're talking about a whole lot of
We're going to talk about a whole lot of nothing. Okay. Right now, because we're talking about a whole lot of stuff, not necessarily nothing. Let's put it in the context.
Let's get back to you.
Let's get back to the fact that we need to talk about.
You were starting.
We're going to talk about all the Pride stuff. We're going to talk about Pride 365, everything that's going on with the other Pride group, because I'm sure y'all want to know, because I want to know. Mm. As a member of the gay community who has been throwing all kinds of shade at Pride 365, now we're like, oh, we have another group. What is happening? We want to know all the details, all the tea, all the dirt, and why Pride 365 should be the main group that everybody should be looking at.
I don't know about main.
Or the group.
No, I think the big issue is that if you're going to start a nonprofit, do something different. Mm-hmm. Do something different. Otherwise,
they've been begging for a fall festival.
They've been begging for a fall festival forever.
You know what? That's what really got me. Wendy and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was going to be like, hey, one group will do it during the summer and one group will do it during the fall, because Houstonians have been like, hey, how about a fall thing?
Or with a different mission. Or how about a different people? If you're looking to remove a stain, you cannot take fruit from the poison tree, per se, if that's really what the issue was.
That was and I talked about this on the last show that was my biggest issue, was that if it's going to be new, then why am I seeing all of the old faces? There are a lot of old faces.
Let's get into the little history of
language.
It is,
especially when I hear phrases like "make Pride great again." Well,
that's the one that worries me the most.
Yeah, I was like,
that's the one that worries me the most.
Phrases to use, that's or like this one, take Pride back.
It sounds kind of log cabinish
Listen,
to me.
if you're taking a play out of Trump's playbook, I don't want to play
I'm
with
not
you.
saying that. I'm just saying that
I don't want to play with you.
investing in a little time to phrase words a little more carefully. Instead of take back our institutions, take pride back, and proudly hashtagging it, or saying diversity when you can't really see the diversity.
I would
Okay,
like to
first
see
of all,
more women on their board. I would
would too.
particularly like to see more women of color, and I would also like to see. Well, I mean, obviously, I can't say whether or not any of them are trans or not, but I would like to see trans representation.
Yeah, but it's disingenuous to me if you have basically staked, we won't work with this leadership. We won't work with these people, and then say they're not diverse.
Okay.
Well, there's still chairs at the table.
Exactly. And Kendra Walker is now president now of the Pride Board. So
yeah, and two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
You can not like me and still participate in the parade. You can not like me and we can still throw a party at your bar. You can not like me. You can just not like me because you don't like me. You don't really need a reason. And I think people get it confused and they personalize things.
Well, but the other thing that confused me too was that there were other people on the board. If you don't want to work with one of us, why won't you work with the other slew of people that are available?
We're getting into the pride stuff. Do we want to go ahead and
No, you're leading.
No. We're already here. So let's first of all, let's talk about the history of Pride 365. Why don't you talk about the history of that first?
Okay, so Pride Houston, and we do business as Pride Houston 365, has been in existence for 46 years. So for 46 years, it has basically been responsible for the Pride Festival, Pride Parade here in Houston. Trademarked as the Houston Pride Festival and the Houston Pride Parade. Those are federally protected trademarks. They're active. Along with some others, Pride Houston as well, Houston LGBT Pride Celebration, and a couple other things. You cannot use, according to common trademark law, you cannot use marks that are similar. That dilutes the value of this. This is standard. I think people have read, the NFL getting mad at the University of Houston. And it's no matter what you feel about it, that's just the law. You are perfectly within your right to trademark names of your own, and we can't infringe on those either.
Well, the Pride Board is more than just the parade and the festival. You guys do community outreach, you do AIDS awareness stuff, you do all kinds of other things. You're not just, we put on a party every year.
I hate to say it, people don't look at that. So
people need to understand and should look at that.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that we made while I was on the board was that we did not hire a PR firm. Now, we did not have the funds, and there were not enough people to put out the PR that was necessary to save the organization from the absolute vitriol that was being spit all over the community. So there are a lot of untruths that are out there that would be very easily fixed with the right PR campaign. Now, I do understand that that is something that y'all have corrected.
That is something we have corrected. However, I want to kind of circle back to what you said. A lot of people brought a 2019 mindset to a 2022 organization that had just survived a pandemic, involved in a lawsuit. And I do want to address the lawsuit for misappropriation of funds for 1 second. It is not a stain to hold prior administrations accountable.
Right.
I push back against that narrative. That is not a stain. A stain would be, hey, let's sweep it under the rug and let's continue to put on the facade that we have done for so many other administrations. But a stain is never, let's hold you accountable.
Right.
And let's just be honest. This has been going on for 2 years. And the reason why it's been going on for 2 years, and if you look at the court documents, it's not been because Pride Houston has not showed up. We've answered discovery. We've taken depositions. We filed every paper and filed it on time. There has been sanctions that are well publicized against the other party because they have not participated in their own defense. So if we want to settle it, if we want to remove the disdain, if we want to do this and we want to show, oh, I did not do this thing, then we would show up and participate in our own defense. We would show documents that are counter to the documents that we have.
Right.
We would show that dental work is covered by Pride Houston. And that there's a board vote and minutes to go along with the authorization of that purchase. This is very simple. Let's not muddy it here.
Right.
It becomes very simple when you take out all the emotions. I don't like the way she looks. I don't like the way she spoke to me. I don't like who she is. Take away all that and let's just get to the fact. Was this an approved expense or not? It's a yes or no question. And then let's move forward from there.
Right.
But we haven't even been able to get there. And judges do not award sanctions against people who are following the rules. We don't have sanctions against us. We don't have fees against us. And these sanctions were awarded before we have even gotten to the trial. That means you have done things so egregious and wasted the courts and our lawyers' time that a judge has stepped in and said, before we even settle if you did anything wrong, they are entitled to these fees right now. They are entitled to this restraining order to stop you from trying to profit off the name in the form of endorsement deals. Like, I don't know if we're dealing with people who don't, I don't want to say read, or who just don't follow the rules and just say, you know what, I'm just going to do it because I can. I'm mad at you and I'm going to do it.
Or if they think they should be able to, so they just do it without checking to see if you even can. There needs to be a lot more research done before people jump out a window.
And I think that's a different attitude that I brought to this board. And I know a lot of people don't like it. You've worked with me. I am a stickler for the rules. I will go down the line and it may come off as rigid. However, I don't do jumpsuit orange very well for anybody. I don't. And then why did we write the rule if we weren't going to follow it?
Right.
You know, why have this? And that has been my consistent thing with this. Why announce a deadline if you're not going to stick to it?
Right.
Why have a bylaw if you're not going to do it?
Right.
Why just write it out and then we move forward? That's why I say everything is in the nonprofit world. Nobody moves on their own.
Nope.
Kendra Walker cannot make one decision. And actually, Kendra Walker did not hold the title of presidency to this year, regardless of what other people think. So I would like to educate people on how I came to the organization and just what positions I've held.
Okay, go ahead.
So in 2018, I was contacted by the previous administration. I was off in my own little world, organizing for a group called Lesbians of Color. We had a pool party.
Her other business, by the way.
We had a pool party. Foolishly, how ironic, I was calling it Baywatch Houston Pride Pool Party. I got served a cease and desist by Dan Cato. Yes, I'm going to name names. By Dan Cato.
Who is on the other board of
works for the Montrose Center at this time. Dan Cato was a person who taught me to follow a rule, but actually said to me later that it was personal for him because it was his friend who was being accused. I'm just going to put it out there. That's what it was. But the fact that I got served a cease and desist by the board, and guess what? You want to know what we did? Called it H-Town. Dropped Pride from it. So it just became Baywatch. And Baywatch is in its 6th year by now, still very successful. But they asked me to come join the board off the popularity of that pool party. I still have that email, and I actually dropped it on Facebook one day because somebody said Locke was profiting off Pride. No, you got it the other way around. I don't play about that group because that group they are hardworking, professional queer women of color, and they did not ask to be a part of this. They were asked And so let's not muddy the water. They didn't need this. They already had their own successful thing and have their own successful thing in their route.
Right.
But so I was like, okay, so we did a brunch together that year instead because our pool party was sold out. No way I'm joining my pool party with yours. We're good. And let's talk about 2019.
Right.
So I volunteered with them in 2018. We did the brunch. The same problems. Volunteers not showing that they had that in 2018. This is nothing new. And anytime you try to run a whole volunteer organization, and let's just be clear, I've never been a favor of a whole volunteer run organization where you're the third largest. You're asking people to do the work of a large corporation for free. And those people don't show up. They don't put up with heat because they are not getting paid. And that is why the volunteers go. That's why they're not. As soon as it gets uncomfortable, you're not paying me anymore. They walk out on the organization. They get in a tiffy. You don't do that on your job. These people work with people they don't like every day, and they're still there. Why? Because they're getting paid a salary.
Right.
I say, hey, the silliest argument I've seen on a Pride board was whether something should be landscape or portrait. And somebody quit over that and filed a grievance against the prior president. And I said, in the fact that some things I just can't give an ear to, because are we really going to hit somebody on the hand because you guys had a disagreement over portrait or landscape? Come on, we're not that petty. Like, you got to be kidding me.
They are.
Okay, so 2019 came onto the Pride board, special events director, and my job, I am not, it's not lost on me. At the time, Lauren Roberts wanted to, and I would never take that away from her. She definitely diversified.
Yes, she did.
The Pride organization, the Pride board. I saw how they came at her. I saw literally the comments, well, what are we going to do if all the grand marshals are black? And what are we going to do? It was a mess. And we would get emails all the time. I definitely you got to run your race. Go for it. Support it. Yeah. Two things can be true at the same time. You can be a great visionary. You can also do something that is not good. So, but I will never take away the fact that Pride Houston went to an international platform. Yes, it did. I will never take away that she did diversify the board and that she did put Pride Houston in circles that they were not before. You cannot take that away from her.
Nope, she did a lot of really great things.
Okay, so now let's move on. I came on as special events director. And special events, there you go. I got you.
Yeah.
So now,
which you already had experience with.
Thank you. So now, where there's going to be I hate to say white male DJ. Let's get some queer masculine women up there. White, black, Hispanic. Let's get from the L to the A. I want the bisexual. I want the intersex. I want trans. We did genderless, the first trans focused event that Pride Houston had done and I was insistent. Not only is it going to have all trans entertainment, but it's going to have all trans paid entertainment. You need to pay them. And just like you fly in all these performers for everybody, you need to fly somebody in. So we had Miss Trans USA flew in from Kentucky, flew her DJ in, whole thing. And we're going to pay for it. Yes. And you're going to give them free food. Yeah. And it's going to be a free event because you do it for other people. Yes. And I was very boisterous about it. I was also boisterous about the disparity in pay. There is no way a DJ who did not move the tickets one way or another should be getting paid $3,000, but the local queer woman of color is getting paid $400. Right. Who brought sold that you can tangibly with the code 500 tickets and who is in the heat the same amount of time. Yes, I'm raising all the heck. I'm raising it all. And I did not care if chairs quit because I said it and this and that. I don't care. That I would truly say, I don't care, y'all. And you can tag me. You can say, I've even heard that I don't like gay white men. That is
Oh, I hear that a lot, actually.
I have a great working relationship with several gay men. Several white gay men. Great working relationship. I'm not going to go with my best friend is that because they're not. But I've been able to work in all areas.
Oh, my best friend is.
Yeah. I own 2 successful consulting firms. Like, come on, let's stop that.
Yeah.
Let's just say I didn't work well with that gay Caucasian man, or I don't work well with this gay Caucasian man, and I definitely don't work well with any that will say, well, when did pride get so black? Well, yeah, I'm gonna take that as an offense. You can say what you want to about it, but you're not privy to those conversations. So we're just gonna tell the truth here.
Yep.
And when you start saying things and say, let's move pride, let's take pride back, I said, let's move it forward.
Yep.
Make pride great again. Pride's still great to me. With anything, it's never going to be perfect. But anyway, so special events director. I am not a treasurer, a secretary, or anything. But one thing I will say, in 2019, when I say every last one of them but one, when all of the gay white men got up from the table, I should have known something was wrong. I said I should have been headed from the door, because I do feel that certain people were privy or had questions to some things, and they just were not being transparent about it.
Right.
And, here we go. And people told me after, I had a course, me and Christina Martinez, as you know, we had Latif. I didn't know her, but she said, that she had seen some things in Pride. And excuse my language, I said, and y'all sit back and let these three little black girls walk on over there. We didn't know anything. we didn't know the gossip or none of that, because we wasn't in there. And y'all just let us walk over there, and y'all said, ooh, they don't know. Even acquaintances I had with a certain health center here, I listen. I'm just going to say, all the people I knew who said that they knew after things were exposed, I went in, because I was like, and you just let us go over there?
Right.
Are you out of your mind? Right. Like, we would have stayed home. Yeah. Like, we thought we were advancing a cause here. Yep. But anyway, so I held no position. 2019, 2020, held no position. Now let's get to the end of 2020. When Lo Roberts is going to be executive director. Right. I was offered the position of vice president. Now let's talk about what that is, because it sounds good. It's a whole lot of nothing. You know what? Do I cuss on here?
You can curse. It's a podcast.
Remember, they had this thing. They said the vice president of the United States ain't nothing but a warm cup of piss. Because you see what I'm saying?
I've heard of that.
So now let's go with the vice president of Pride Houston. Because it is not a position that is enshrined in our bylaws. Right. It is an appointed position. Right. So the vice president only has the power that the board gives it. You want to know what power I had? None. Sit in meetings where Lo can't be. That was the whole big whoop. And,
so basically, you just got a title with nothing to go with.
Well, she, at the time, and I'm just going to be very, okay, so let's go with Pride Houston bylaws and the way it works. When there is someone who is not qualified or don't meet the definition of everything that's in those bylaws, president has the power to appoint. Now, we have changed the bylaws lately because the president could appoint without the consent of the board. Right. Meaning I could put an ant that sat on the board that didn't have, can't even add 1 + 1 = 2 into that position. And the board couldn't say not a darn word about it. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why we changed it, because there was a treasurer who had 10 years of experience and someone who had none. And they offered me secretary and the person who had none treasurer. And so I said, well, I ain't going to tell you what I said, but you got me messed up. You got me messed up.
It's still a podcast. So say what you got to say, girl.
I turned down secretary. And passed it to the person who they passed over for treasurer. You can be secretary, because some don't sit right. And I was the only one who raised that. I also filed a grievance, several, against the office of the treasury. I have several emails. I was the one that was causing the turmoil. I need to see these bank statements because I'm hearing a whole lot. I need to see bank. But I was still raising. I need to see a lot of stuff. You can't tell me nothing. I need to see it. I need to read it. That's just what it is. So when Lauren Roberts was offered when she was offered executive director, for a point in time, she had to be both president and a paid director because our bylaws were so rigid. We couldn't switch presidencies until October or something like that. So Deja Madison, who actually was president, could not take place. So who is going to sit and chair or sit in meetings or whatever where Lauren Roberts may have a conflict of interest? Here comes the seat warmer right here. That did not give me access to bank accounts. Did not give me signing authority. That gave me nothing. In fact, if I had to sign something, I had to call Lauren Roberts, have a email, and then I had to put Kendra Walker on behalf of Lauren Roberts, and I had to attach that email to say that she gave permission to execute this contract. So Kendra Walker has no power.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So
before we get into the next part, we're going to take a little bit of a break because we're at the 30-minute. We're at the 30-minute mark. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. So we're going to come back to it because this is so exciting.
And I'm going to speed it. This is exciting. I'm going to speed it up because I need to walk you through this.
And you know what?
A lot of talk going on.
And you know what, Kendra?
With no receipts. Yeah.
And you know what, Kendra? What's so funny is I was laughing so hard earlier at something that you said because right before the show, right before Wendy was picking me up, we got into an argument about an image. And I'm like, we're arguing back and forth about an image that was sent. And I'm like, I just don't think this image is blah, 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 blah. And she's like, why are you so worried about it? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just turned into a whole tip.
But did you quit?
No. Okay. Why would I quit?
No. In fact, that was something that both of us are really adamant about. Is that, and I said it over and over again. It's not me against you. It's you and me against the issue.
Yeah.
And that's the way that it has to be in any relationship. Your problem has to be with the issue at hand.
Issue at hand, and not
remove the human being from the situation completely, and look at what is actually there. And it takes a lot of emotion out of the problem, makes it a lot easier to process.
And it really does.
And it really just turned out that I was just super nervous and because I'm having a major guest on and I was super nervous. So, and I wanted to make sure that the show went right. I wanted to make sure I was freaking out a little bit. I had a little bit of a freak out. A little bit I was excited when I was when I was talking to Phoenix, I was making jokes with Phoenix and all this other stuff. But as soon as I started talking to Wendy, it turned into a huge thing. And I'm like, everything was out of context.
It's never about the socks on the floor.
No, it never is.
We both were like, let's talk about this in person. Let's talk about this in person because I feel like a lot is getting lost in text.
In text. And I always get in trouble in text. So we're going to be right back, everybody. Do one. And we are back. And we're going to talk a little bit more Pride 365 with Kendra Walker, president of the Pride Board. And I wanted to make sure I said Kendra Walker, president of the Pride Board. President of Pride 365, I should say that. Yeah. Right. President of Pride 365 is here to join us. And we're going to talk a little bit more Pride, but we're also going to get to know Kendra as a person.
Yeah, we're going to wrap this Pride thing up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because you've been on 19 different interviews just talking about Pride alone. We don't know Kendra.
Exactly.
It feels like Pride season.
I know.
And it's not even the new year.
I know.
I was like,
everybody should be worried about
marketing this parade up until June. They be tired of us. They're like, has the election happened already? No.
We're going to pick up where we left off. Where did we left off?
2020.
2020. So now I'm exec VP. 2021 comes and Deja Madison is president. She doesn't have
experience.
No, I was gonna say access to the assets. So the
access to the access.
Now, 2020, we went into a pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah,
we didn't have a parade. 2021, we didn't.
We're losing so much money during the pandemic, and I can't figure out why. And I've always said this: there's too much money going out the door for us not to be having events.
Right.
So now but now I'm on a mission.
Right.
Because I will say this, I do not like the way Deja Madison was treated.
Yeah.
She was bullied.
Yep.
She was like, and they know, and I always say this, you know who to do it to.
Yeah.
Because I was not bullied.
Yeah. No, and you've made a comment about Thasia that I actually really agree with, that if she had been handed the pride before
That Lo Roberts had?
Yes, the pride that Lo Roberts had, she would have succeeded beyond.
Yes. Thasia Madison was set up to fail, and I will stand on that. And I'm not even a fan of Thasia, but I can truly say she was set up to fail.
I agree.
I can say she was definitely put in as a placeholder, and they knew her personality, and they were going to do their best. In fact, Lo Roberts had a vice president. When Thasia Madison wanted to keep me on as vice president just for business continuity, because I could tell her some of the things, they didn't want her to have a vice president. So why can't she have it? Oh, you should be ready day one. Well, this one wasn't. So why can't she have the same luxury that the prior president had?
Right.
Why this is how she wants to run her email. I remember the prior president to Thasia saying, I'm able to make unilateral decisions. And our bylaws at that time did allow her to make unilateral decisions. Bylaw that we've since changed. You need 2/3 of this board for those decisions. We're not going to do that. But why isn't she able to? And it was little things that they're fighting her on. Yep. She doesn't want people who are not on the board to have. She wanted one email address per committee. I didn't necessarily agree with that policy. I think everybody who served needed their own email address if you're doing business on Pride. But that was my personal opinion.
Right.
And so, even though I didn't agree with Thasia, I agree with her right to make the decision.
Right.
And I said so. Yep. And we're going to fight to the death, because what we're not going to do is treat one president different than the other. I don't care how big of bullies you are. Like, that's not going to happen. Not while I'm sitting in this seat. It's just not going to happen. So it didn't.
Right.
So I made a lot of enemies. Oh, Kendra's fighting Thasia's battles. Okay. And? Right. What are we doing here?
Right.
So now comes, end of 2021, we came up with this thing, all hell then broke loose. At this point, we allege misappropriation of funds, because what is facts is that we see things, makeup, clothes, food, dental work, things of that nature. Those are not Pride expenses in our opinion. We don't see a board vote that goes for that. And so what happened was our treasurer quit. The treasurer that they put in that did have no experience all of a sudden gets up and says, I don't think I'm qualified. I want to quit. Now, later that treasurer came back and said he quit because I called him on Easter. And I actually apologized for that. But then, thank God for receipts, went back and looked at the call log, went back and looked at the Facebook IMs. I actually left him a message on a Wednesday. He called me back on that Sunday. So what I did, and that's when I said, now before I even speak or apologize, I go check the records.
Yep.
I go check the records, because I said, well, we did talk on that Sunday. I said, well, if I did that, I'm so sorry. But then I went back and I looked at the records. I went back and looked at the IMs. No, I left a message for you on Wednesday, Thursday. You ended up texting me back on that Sunday. And the tax form needed to be filed. It was not a deadline that I imposed. It was the state. Do you know this?
Right.
And guess what? He didn't know that. So now he quit. You're not qualified. Okay. The only person who had the number of years to step in as interim treasurer was me. So now I'm treasurer. Easy. Where are the bank statements? Still don't have them. Why can't I get my name on that account? Still don't have. Like, nothing's been handed to me. No, not signing nothing. Ain't nobody getting no checks. Ain't nobody getting paid. Ain't nobody getting nothing. I'm not hitting the button as far as I'm concerned. So at that point, Lo Roberts was actually per records, alleged, I guess we need to say, but per records, had to administer her own payroll, or it was on auto draft or whatever, because Kendra's not doing anything. Thasia Madison and I go to the bank, and now we get it correct. I'm on there. We're also in a pandemic. We need credit. We don't have lines of credit. Hand me the statement. First statement says there's a $35,000 line of credit open and it's maxed out. I called Lauren Roberts from the bank, and she says, "Oh, that's old. That's new." Come to find out, it's very valid. It was new, and it was something that had not been disclosed to the board. So at the end of the day, regardless of what anybody thinks, first sheet. So to me, if you're a treasurer, the first sheet of the bank statement has every account on it. How did you not see it? But I'm not, did you say you didn't see it? Okay, you didn't see it. And I tell Thasia, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. Mm-hmm. I don't want it. I don't want nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. Call an attorney. Mm-hmm. Because this don't look right to me.
Yep.
I'm not saying that it wasn't right. It don't look right to me.
Right.
So call an attorney. They look at it. They tell us what our options are. I was actually the one who was not a fan of lawsuits. I literally said, hey, offer a settlement, have her pay it back, let's move forward. Don't have work in nonprofit no more, whatever. I was outvoted. It is what it was. I was outvoted. I've been outvoted several times in trying to get these. I've been outvoted several times. I've even been accused. Well, you must. I was like, okay, well, fine. Yeah, okay.
So you know what? You know what's so funny? Wendy, you know what's so funny? I told Wendy, I'm like, Wendy, you're going to be leading this whole conversation when it comes to the Pride Board because I don't know a lot about stuff, but blah, 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 blah. I feel like I've been asking all the way.
Yeah, because I know. Because she knows. Because I know.
But like I said, I think because I'm in the community and I hear this stuff all the time that this is why I'm like, maybe I should ask these questions because this is what I hear in the community.
Let's wrap this up. So as we move forward, what ends up happening, as you know, we file suit. But we can't say anything. There's no PR because there's no money. So the narrative was, Lo Roberts didn't get a parade permit, so they fired her. That was like, oh my God. And us sitting there, we can't say anything. Once the suit finally comes out, people done dug in. They don't want to refuse to believe. It's just crazy. And so now everybody's leaving. So now I have to be because the president cannot be secretary. Now I have to be treasurer and secretary. And all this turmoil is really not turmoil. We're just following the rules. So
right.
All this dysfunction that people are saying, it's not dysfunction. This is literally somebody got fired in contrary to fire belief. Walgreens, when they fire people, they are not out in the parking lot. Well, you know we fired
Exactly.
and we don't have a new cashier here tomorrow. No. She fired, followed the rules. Let's keep
I
going.
wish every manager did do that. I wish managers were made to go out into the public and go, let me tell you
their business done.
Let me tell you why I had to fire such and such.
Exactly. And no other 501c3 is around here. And trust me, some of the people who used to work for mental health, one of the ones who have been hostile toward Pride was fired because I used to sit on the board of that mental health facility, so I know he was fired while I was there. And yet still continues to be hostile for some reason. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? But anyway, moving along. So how did I get to the presidency? Now comes an advisory board. We're like, look, let's get an advisory board. We had that advisory board for 2 years. The public ain't asked that advisory board not one question.
Not one
question.
Not one.
And these were all people that were recommended by the public. One thing to sit on the advisory board, you could not have any association with us. So I did not know her prior to that. You could not have known any of us. You could not have done business with Pride Houston the last 5 years. You had to have 7 years of executive experience, and you had to be unanimous. That means all the board, everybody who's left on the board right now, we don't even like each other. Me and Thasia, nobody can ever say that we're bosom buddies.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
But one thing me and Thasia didn't do, like we said, we might not get along. We'll still. Well,
I guess it goes.
And Wendy would tell you, if she saw black, I definitely saw white. But we will meet up in the middle.
We don't like each other, but we don't steal. So.
And they listen. So the advisory board came up with what they called a co-presidency. Again, co-president, not in the bylaws. So what power does the co-president have? Only the power that this board gives me, which ain't much. What was mine? Take care of the festival.
Right.
That was mine. The co-president was, like I said, I keep getting these titles of a whole big bunch of nothing that says work. We need you to have a title so when you go out to do the work, people would it up. But to get anything signed, I got to bring it back. Can't move without Thasia actually signing off on anything. And trust me, half the time, couldn't even find her. And it wasn't that she was just off, drinking Mai Tais and stuff. I guess my time is flexible because I am a business owner, so I can be more available. And she was starting a new job and this and that, and it was just, it is what it was. But this chaos and turmoil we were actually moving very orderly.
Yes.
Hey, we don't have $5 for this, so this is what we have. Then Deja Madison and I did something very dumb. And I hate when people say, "Oh, you did what had to be done." Let me tell you something. And you can ask Deja Madison this. I gave Pride out of my bank account. I didn't take out a loan out of my bank account, $30K. Yes. And Deja gave Pride $15K. Yep. She's seen the receipt. I cried. I said, Deja, are we stupid? We have to be stupid to actually try to save an organization that, to me, wasn't for us.
Right.
And everybody got out tiki torches. What are we doing here?
Right.
Oh, we need to prove that Black women can lead. Okay, I'm for that mission. Yes, because that we can do. And that we can do. We can work and we can say some stuff. Because if you want to say, call Black women. I believe in us. I'm not going to back down for that.
Hey, Black women have been saving the Black community for years, so why not?
To this iteration of the board, we put on a successful 2022. Was everybody happy? No.
No.
No festival is going to be perfect, but what we did...
Was everybody happy? No.
85% of the people had no complaints.
No.
But we said 85% wasn't good enough, and I believe that.
Yep.
So now... we had the parade because I made the decision. I will say I didn't make the decision by myself, but I definitely was a strong believer, and there was going to be no festival for 2023. Yep. But it had to pass a majority vote. Hey, I'm not going to say no names, but you had some people who didn't want a festival or parade in 2023.
It was me. It was me. I was the one who voted not to have it, and it's because I thought we needed
feasible. But what I presented to them was a sound plan for a parade that will pay off all debt. And guess what? We had a successful parade without one complaint, not one medical instance. It paid off all the debt, and it put us in a position to where we are financially solvent, sitting on a surplus. And so when people come and try to infringe on our trademarks, we have the money to take you to court.
Yeah, we do.
We do. We have resources. Now, all that stuff y'all wanted us to do, go out and outreach. You wanted us to do scholarships. You wanted us to make statements. You wanted us to be a commissioner's court. You wanted us to be here. Now we actually have the resources.
Right.
But now you don't want to hear anything. You wanted a broke institution that couldn't even keep the wealth. You wanted us to really be out here doing what? Throwing pop-ups. Where we going to get this free chicken from? Yep. So now at the time, but everybody was not in agreement with this parade. So you had someone who still wanted to press forward with the festival. But that someone was also late with the scholarship announcement and late with other deadlines. And the board lost faith in that someone.
Yes.
Now, what a little known fact that people don't understand is as of August 2023, the authorization for co-presidency was up, and so was my position on the board.
Right.
We did not meet until, September, October. So technically, September and October, Kendra is not a member of Pride Houston. While y'all are out here talking about, she lied, no. As of August 31st, 2023, it was up. That is facts. There was no reauthorization of a darn thing until, guess what? And who sent the email? Hey, y'all don't forget to make that scholarship announcement. Don't forget. And guess what?
She forgot.
But who got tagged?
You did.
But who had authority? Not me.
Nope.
So once they lost faith after that, they said, Kendra, we want you to be president.
Yep.
Because you've done the work.
Yep.
Whether I had a title or not, I'm going to show up. Yep. That's just facts. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do what I need to do. Whether you like me, whether you hate me, talk about me like a dog. Trust me. It was some days I went into those board meetings. I said, I am done.
Yep.
What was I told? Get the work done, okay?
Yep.
You tough. You do this.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if that is good or mentally damaging. I don't know.
Sounds mentally damaging to me.
Look at Christina was like, you got me messed up. But I'd suck it up. I'd go out there. I would take all the darts and let people say everything, even though not a lick of it was true. And then this year, they said, hey, you've done the work. You take that interim off your name. You're not interim president.
Yeah.
So then I was voted president. And the moves that we have made and I think what people don't see is that they personalize a lot. I don't. My fiduciary duty is very clear. And that's why there's no chaos to me or dysfunction, because our fiduciary duty is very clear. The bylaws spell out, Robert Rules of Order spell out what we are to do in these cases. Yep. So when you take the personal out of it, guess what? Your establishment is too small to hold this event. It has to move to a bigger establishment.
Right.
Now, whether you're hostile to that or not, it has to move. It's no longer safe.
Right.
The fire department is coming to shut it down.
Yep.
Every year we can't have that.
Right.
And if you don't want to expand and share with the other bars, then we have to move on, whether you like me or not. And that is not a decision that I get to make by myself.
Right.
That is a decision a whole board has to vote for. And now we have a board of 8. So any decision where you're up there, boy, God, Kendra, da-da-da. Okay, well, I mean, guess what? The decision's still going to be the same because I got one vote. One vote. And once that vote is taken, I execute. That is, if you are a good president, that is what you do. You are a chairman of the board. You make sure those rules are followed. And when that majority vote comes down, you shake it off and you execute. Because let me tell you something. It's a lot of... Y'all never vote with me. You never vote with me. I have a certain finesse way of just soothing the savage beast, but I got some hitters, and they like, we will not be bullied, no. And so they vote the way they vote, but everybody votes their conscience. And I think what people forget is everybody's trying to do the right thing.
Right.
Nobody is, and I'm about to say something very unpopular. Very unpopular. I don't think as much impropriety would have happened had the pandemic not have happened.
I agree.
I do feel like the previous administration found themselves in a pickle to where they had a paid employee and she's not making what we thought we would be bringing in.
Right.
However, you have options because you have degree. You're a nurse by trade.
Right.
Just go back to work.
Right.
There's other options, and so there's just other options. And I think what angered the board, I think this would have been settled, but when you lock people out of accounts, you erase files, then the board lost, and I didn't lose it. I just found it. I said,
petty.
How you not change the password when you fired? But I just found it, but it doesn't matter because you're legally protected because you cannot touch our stuff once you're fired.
Right.
And you did it after. I mean, and in fact that there's a lot of young thinking around here. Google literally has recorded you like doing all this. So, but anyway, that angered the board. Once people are angry and they feel like you are not sympathetic, you're not even remorseful, then they're going to hold you accountable how they see fit. And everybody has one vote. So everybody who is a part of the previous board who has walked out of those doors, even though they may try to distance themselves now, but 2020 up until now, voted to get into court. Voted to have this treasurer who had no experience, and I voted against. So, but it was appointed. So I'm just gonna say, all right, anytime you start appointing people who have no experience, and there are people who have experience, I'm gonna raise things whether I can vote or not, because I'm gonna raise it. It just doesn't make sense. But we've changed all that. President can't make unilateral decisions anymore, and any appointments have to be approved by 2/3 of the board.
Yes. I thought you did a really good job of restructuring a lot of the bylaws.
Everybody has access to the bank accounts. Let me qualify that. You cannot transact on it. But everybody, we moved bank accounts to Chase just for this. Everybody has a log on, can see every account, every credit, everything. So you can verify every treasury report. You can verify the bookkeeper. So there has to be 8-10 people who literally don't know each other would have to get together to collude to do some of the BS that I hear in these streets. Questionable fund distribution to who?
To who? From where?
To who? From where? Because evidently, and then when people start breaching contracts and things, it's another thing. On this, we don't pay our bills. We pay bills for work that we get. And the board If they don't feel like they've gotten that work and they vote that you're not getting paid until we get our work, you can file all the lawsuits and do all the media you want. We didn't get our work. We just had to pay another company to redo our entire website. We didn't stop paying our bills. You stop working because, and we have it. You're not going to work with us unless there's change in leadership. You do not dictate who holds positions on this board if you're not willing to sit on this board. There's a lot of sideline quarterbacks. Oh, I wouldn't do that. It's corrupt. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to say, hey, get rid of, because these people who are sitting on the board, they see who's doing the work. They see who's producing. They see who's doing, and they're watching every dollar and dime. And we have a judge sitting on the board right now. Do you honestly think? We have two people who work for Medicare. They are federally bonded. They can't, or they will lose their livelihoods. So the stuff that people are saying is the most ridiculous. You sound uneducated.
Kendra, are you talking to me? Because you looking at me. I'm like, wait a minute now. I'm not uneducated. Wait a minute now.
I'm not talking to you.
Talk to them.
I naturally look. Because you're
I know.
But anyway, wrap that up. Now, 2024, you won't break our pride. You won't break our pride. 2024,
you won't break our pride.
Saturday, June 29th is coming. And yes, you've heard of another pride group. You know, as long as they stop infringing, or my bad, we allege that they're infringing on our trademarks. And once that is settled, yes, we have filed the lawsuit because we feel like law is very clear. Once that is settled, then, and we hope that will be settled very soon. Wish them well. You can never be more prideful. I do question how they came about. You can see you can just compare the boards.
I gotta say, I'm gonna be honest here. This Pride 365 board, sorry, I said 364, I actually have confidence in. There's transparency. And transparency there's transparency, which I think a lot of people in the community are like,
because you don't know.
Really?
They haven't said that, hey, people who are with your organization are actually involved in litigation with ours. They haven't actually said that the vendor who filed a $100,000 lawsuit against Pride over a $2,000 debt, the president is his best friends with, the lawyer representing is the intimate partner of, the one of them actually was an influencer on our thing, the one that's over the parade walked out in protest because we brought a lawsuit against the former administration. So when are you going to discuss those connections? The old faces, the new faces are the old faces. But none of that matters because I wish you well. Actually, I'm one of the ones who please say, do you. I just don't want you to use our trademark.
All I got to say is that the Pride Tea is amazing. As I sip from this cup, the Pride Tea is amazing.
My thing is, one thing our insurance carrier told me long time ago, and I laughed when he said it. He said, for some reason, all private organizations have what they call drama. And I said, no, you're just going to follow the rules because I'm bringing and that's one thing I will say. I'm pretty much, and Wendy will tell you, I'm more of a business thing. So all of the, you can literally get in there and cry and curse, and Wendy will get emotional about the split in the community, and I would just be like, bylaw 17 point.
Every time. It's very, very judicious.
Very, very straightforward, very judicious. I literally don't like working with certain establishments. My thing is well known on that. However, what did I say? If y'all vote to establish a partnership, what did I say? Let me know so I can have lawyers drop the contract. I'm very, because I care less. When I take off the Pride President hat, I'm Kendra Walker. I'm mom to Coy. Friend to many. I think I have a life to sit down and think about, but it's some people who literally have followed me all over the internet. If you mention Kendra Walker, they're in the comments. She, they can barely type right. I say, girl, y'all.
Calm down.
With it.
That's too many S's in there.
You have some fans.
Baby.
Like, how many hours did they sit through?
Live podcasts. Not only they doing live videos. Not even that. And if you mention, they in the comments. Yeah. And I can't wait to set. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It literally could be an axe murder against me. Ooh, check out this new axe murder.
Yeah, exactly.
And I find it hilarious because I say, y'all still love me. You just want to be my friend.
They just, you must be exhausted living rent free in that many heads.
It's like the less serious I take it, the more upset they get.
It is true.
Like
you take away the power.
And a lot of people like, oh my God, she's so angry. She's so this. I said, if you literally see me, I think when people read a post of this, I said, if you literally see me as this is going down, what did I tell you? Like, we are cracking up. I was like, what?
Yep.
I just say, it's called clown behavior.
It's the absurdity of it all.
Well, some of it is really
it's really absurd.
You can't do anything when you don't have access to nothing.
Nope.
I feel like the lessons on narcissism apply here. When it comes to, because I feel like we don't owe anybody. The community is a bit narcissistic.
Well, so let's do this. Pride Houston, we're responsible for our whole mission is to bring awareness and awareness through events. Okay, so let's talk about that mission, because now they've expanded that. It's to make sure the bars are profitable. We own the bar. We have to do it there, even if it's gonna bankrupt us. Even if we can't get but 30 people in the door, we need to throw this huge thing. Okay, all right. Now, what are you doing about the mental health in the community? It's whole big mental health. These laws that are da-da-da-da. Okay, so we post awareness about the laws, but what else are you doing? Well, where's the caucus? This community has a lot of groups that are responsible for a lot of things, but somehow
they always come to Pride 365.
We went from being responsible, and then we expanded to 365, and then 365 because we're Pride every day. We like, okay, that means and then we like grassroots organizations.
Right.
I will say this.
Right.
Pride Houston 365 likes grassroots organizations.
Yes, we do.
We know that there are traditionally some nonprofits that everybody, and I'm just going to name one. Let's take HRC. I understand that they need support. They need donors and things too. Their budget is probably 10 times ours.
Right.
What do we look like raising money for HRC? Right. We can go raise money for Lesbians for Causes. Go raise money for the Austin House that's lit. Or Montrose Grace Place.
Montrose Grace Place is great. Tony's Place is great.
And don't get me wrong, I like Tony's Place as well. But they have a national backing.
True.
There are other smaller grassroots in this board, I will say, because they think we're not Pride Houston 365. We are. Unfortunately, I hate to say, there's a lot of elitism or elitists in this community, and you don't go to the grassroots organizations that we do. Some of them had never heard of the Austin House until we pulled up with a big U-Haul full of water, their biggest donation in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
See, so the organizations that we donate to, they don't have big galas. They don't have a big ball.
Right.
They can't raise $300,000. There ain't no $300 a plate dinners.
Right.
And they need money too.
Right.
So we're out there volunteering with them. So 365 didn't mean 365, but for who you think we should. Because if you think we should, then you should be on this board where you get a vote.
That was my whole thing. Don't ask other people to do what you're not willing to do for yourself.
I would never sit on that board because I'm for the whole community. I won't sit on any board.
That's how things get done in the community.
No, that is, I don't want my name attached.
Right.
I don't want to be attacked when they don't do as I say.
Yep.
And
I won't stand behind it.
As imperfect as we were, as imperfect as we are, I will say this: I still, I didn't leave. I didn't leave. I'm gonna see it through to the end because I took a fiduciary duty to the organization, to the mission, not to a person.
Yep.
And that's why I was able to work with the previous president. And you were there for some of those battles.
Don't get me started.
Me and Miss Madison, and I have respect for Miss Madison because she actually did put her pocketbook where her mouth is, and so did I.
I think Thasia, like I said, she would have done such a good
inherited-
job.
She wasn't a crisis moment president.
Yes,
And
she
that's
got
just the
handed an organization in crisis.
You know what? And she thought she was getting handed a well functioning thing, and I felt bad because her platform that she ran on to get elected, the programs she wanted to implement,
They're so good.
they're so good.
They're so good.
They're so good.
There just wasn't the.
You can't
we
pay
didn't have
rent.
the backing.
You can't pay rent right now.
Oh wow!
Right.
And we need to handle this lawsuit. Like you got to focus. But now all those programs, I still have all those emails. And shout out to Austin Williams, who has taken up outreach direction and has implemented a lot of those. I mean,
love Austin.
Coming Out Day was great. The Trans March for Autonomy was great.
Oh yeah.
Austin has great ideas. Austin is a believer in unity. Trust me, if you can get it, you can get it with Austin.
Yes.
Austin forgives and loves everybody.
Yes,
I
he's
can't
the
say
sweetest
same
man
for
in the
everybody
world.
on this board, but Austin's religion is love.
Yeah.
And he is the right person in the outreach director. And now he has funding. That is something we couldn't give to Thasia Madison's program was funding. We have funding now.
Right.
Wow.
So, you got to wait till the miracle happens.
You do.
And let's just be, this is a short amount of time. 2021 to 2023 is 2 years. I put a challenge out there to anybody who could have turned this organization around in the short amount of time that we did.
Oh, look at that.
I put a challenge out to you.
With 3 or 4 people.
And rebuild the org.
And
rewrite the bylaws.
That's Kendra Walker for you. If you want, you know what, it goes right back to a simple stereotype. Want something done, get a lesbian to do it. You want something done right, get a lesbian to do it.
But it's Saturday, June 29th. Meet us there. No need to talk about the other Pride organization. We wish them well. This trademark infringement should be settled soon. And I wish we could have a Pride parade every day of the week. And I will say this. One thing that has brought up, because everybody is like, Fall Festival. So, Pride Houston right now is discussing having both. Why can't we?
What?
Yeah, why can't we?
Why can't? Here we go.
Evidently, the new organization came along and they didn't do it.
So why can't we?
Why can't we do June and October? Why do we have to have
Okay,
one?
Wendy, you need to go back on the board.
You can kiss my lily white ass.
Why do we have to have one?
You need to go back on the board. I need
Let me
tickets.
tell you.
I need all kinds of stuff. Go back on the
tell you
board.
why.
Hell, I'll go on the board.
Let me tell you why that came about. One person, out of all the ways we say this is the proper way to reach the board, only one person
Kendra,
actually took us up.
I love you, but we're going to run out of time
ahead.
because
Let's
you said that you had to be gone somewhere.
Oh, we can take a break and not come back. Okay, let's go. Take a break. Okay, moving along. What else? You wanted to talk about entrepreneurship, and I'm ready.
I did, but we talked so long about Pride that we ran out of time.
Are we done?
You know what, Kendra? Kendra, I would like to have you back on.
Yes, we need.
And actually, I might ask to see if you want to have you and Coy come on.
Actually, that would be good
Because Coy is a cool kid.
Coy is a cool kid.
Coy is a cool ass kid. She's real cool.
The next time we have Kendra on, though, I want to talk about her businesses. I don't want to talk about.
Well, you know what? Can I leave this little nugget about the business?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking during the break, and he was like, what is the best way to be an entrepreneur? I was like, there is something called the E-Myth, and I tell all my business owners this. Just because you can cook cakes good does not qualify you to run a bakery.
Right.
I, right now, without knowing how to cook a darn thing, could run a successful bakery. So if you have a product that you think the people are in, you do need funding. Now, whether you work your 9 to 5 to stack your paper, whether you go get a loan, find a backing, go get grants, talk to people who are smarter than you.
Yep.
If you don't have people who are smarter than you and your team, let me tell you something right now.
You're going to fail.
Jordan from Taylor Dean Media. That girl is smart. Runs circles around me when it comes to, and guess what? I don't feel intimidated at all. I feel empowered. I was like, I got a team of hitters. Because if you don't have a team of hitters, And whether you want to or not, if you're an entrepreneur, you're also a marketer.
Yep.
You are a marketer. Your job is marketing.
Yep.
You are a marketer.
Yep.
And if you don't understand the concepts of business, go take a business class.
Yep.
You're struggling. You don't have $200 in your account every month because you're actually throwing stuff against the wall hoping it'll work because you don't want to take time out, pull it back, and actually, okay, let me understand trademark. Let me understand incorporation. Let me understand how to build my taxes. Let me understand how cash flow and cash forecast reports. If you know that your business gets slow in November, what are you doing to safeguard against that? Let me understand risk management.
Yup.
So I want to talk about that because pride is going to do what pride is.
Pride's going to be what pride's going to be.
Said, the community will decide.
Yep.
Whether they will support one, the other, or both.
Right.
Two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
We couldn't have a need for another organization, regardless of how that organization came about, and regardless of what their purpose is. It
Exactly.
could be a vendetta, it could be that, but that doesn't mean it can't do good work.
That's right.
So I hope that some of that hate, vitriol that's directed, that it turns into the good for the community.
Yep.
Because
Me too.
after you say we ain't them, what you got next?
Yes.
You're not us, so now what you gonna do?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
But e-myth. E-myth. Keep it in your head. So next time everybody think they want to quit their 9 to 5 and you don't want to be broke, remember the e-myth. Just because I can paint good don't mean I can run a gallery. I do good software, and I had to learn how to run a software consulting firm. And I've been doing so for 2 decades. And I haven't worked for anybody else yet, and I can retire when I want to. And I don't feel, a lot of people take that as boasting. You know what? I feel like I've earned the right to say that. And if I build up assets and I can, the worst thing someone told me, because I am humble, I never throw that in their face, but the worst thing someone told me, I was right on an issue. And I knew I was right. And I was like, they're just wrong. So they went and they did all this, and then realized, oh, I'm wrong. She's right. And then my client, offline, sent me a Teams message and said, be humble. And what I wanted to say was, you got me messed up. I didn't say nothing. I didn't renew that contract because the one thing about entrepreneurship, it actually gives you freedom. So I would say, you say, what makes an entrepreneur? Freedom. If you don't have the freedom to walk away from certain things that serve you and actually be okay, I don't think you're an entrepreneur yet.
No, you're not an entrepreneur.
You're not an entrepreneur yet. Because you need it. And for an entrepreneur, a successful one, you need me. I don't need you.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
need me. And for a lot of years, I tell everybody, I wasn't an entrepreneur. I was a business owner when I first started out.
Yeah.
I own a business, and that's about all you can say about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I drove with Liz. When I went out of town and I rented a car, I was in a little bug. $99 a day car because, look, I had $30K in a dream.
Hey, because I had to literally school. I wasn't trying to school my Uber driver. Really wasn't. But he kept telling me, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing this and that and blah blah." I'm like, "You're a hustler. You're not an entrepreneur." There's a difference between hustle culture and entrepreneurship.
Or gig culture.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
gig culture.
Or gig culture.
I got a gig and I'm gonna go, film, I don't know, the Obamas. Yeah. And now you get paid $5,000 to do a documentary. I'm a filmmaker.
Hold on.
Because
you did one.
Now we're doing GoFundMe's next week. Next week because we can't fund our own projects. We can't even secure the capital with our own credit.
Right.
Credit is power.
Yeah.
And I am of the firm belief, don't get me wrong, get your grants and things out there, but you're going to make it or you'll know you made it.
Yeah.
I don't need to fill out for a grant. I can walk into any bank and secure capital on my own.
Right.
Or guess what? I got enough liquidity to fund my own stuff.
Right.
And that is freedom. I want everybody to experience that freedom.
Power.
Oh, Lord, I would love to. God, I would love to. I don't even call myself a business owner. I'm like, I'm just a podcaster. I'm out here in the world just trying to do my thing.
Yes.
Because I don't have the freedom yet. I don't.
But you own the business.
Yeah,
You're missing a business owner with an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a lifestyle. It's a way of life.
Yeah.
Right.
And that sustains.
Oh no, I'm not. Like I said, I barely call myself. I only call myself a podcast. I don't even call myself a business owner yet. I'm not there yet. I don't think.
We're here on a holiday working.
People who are out there selling lemonade on side street. They're business owners.
Yep.
And you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
And let me tell you something. Hustle culture is all right. Just make sure you're hustling toward the end goal.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't hustle forever.
No.
And
You could, but that's tiring.
It's exhausting.
And hustling shouldn't be about getting the little extra things that you want to get. It should not be about paying your basic bills. If you're hustling out there to pay your rent, your light bill, that's not hustling, honey. You're surviving.
Exactly.
It's called survival mode. That is not hustling. Hustling is about getting the little extra thing. Like if I wanted a PlayStation 6, 7, 8, whatever. Well, a 5.
No,
let's be yourself 5. If I want to get a little part-time job to get it, to buy it, that's hustling to me.
I am an entrepreneur hustler because one thing I will say this: I used to say I have 40 hours that I dedicate to my business because I also work for my business. I'm an employee of my own business. I have the best boss in the world.
Yeah,
but that 40, I don't like to live off of. I like to, I guess I'm in reverse. I like to put it to the side and I like to live off my hustle money. Right. I want to, but guess what?
But either way, as long as something is going back in the savings, if it's going towards something, to me, that's hustling.
I can tell you a whole, it'd take another podcast on how to live poor so you can prosper rich.
I'm doing that now. I'm doing that now.
Well, because when I paid off my first car, I never stopped paying myself a car note. Paid it off, and every month, what I would have paid in a car note, I put in the bank.
Yep.
So my next car, I went in there and paid cash for it. That's right. And my next car, paid cash.
So,
paid off my house.
Yep.
So really, I don't really have bills, but I like to eat.
Me too. I like to eat.
And on that
I like
note,
to eat.
Do what? You can say hoes.
Yeah, hoes and chicken.
Hose and chicken. That's the title of this episode.
I'm sorry. Did we even curse on this episode? Because
barely.
People keep asking. Kendra kept going. Can I use inappropriate language?
I know, we were so
we're a
appropriate.
podcast.
I like listen.
We were so lame today. So
tame.
tame.
All podcasts do Christians.
We are the Hot Mess podcast.
This YouTube, if this goes on YouTube, we can actually make money because there's hardly any cursing.
I don't know if kids listen to you. I try to respect the brand.
No, we're an adult show.
We're an adult show. I honestly wouldn't mind if kids listen. They might learn some stuff.
You know what? Winnie and I are going to do our first TikTok offline.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh
for
God.
That.
Okay.
Yes.
Well.
So Wendy, you know what? We're gonna end because we got to get Kendra out of here. And if we don't, we will be. This will be a 4-part episode if we keep going. This will be. We'll have to break this down because we'll have the pride, then we'll have how to run a business, then how to be gay, black, and running the business, and blah 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 blah. So what I'm proposing.
And then one day you just need to bring me back just to talk crap.
Oh,
we are.
Come in and talk shit.
So what we're going to do this. We're going to have Kendra back. But what we're going to do is we're going to have Kendra back in January because I feel like January is the time when everybody's making all their resolutions.
Yeah.
Right now, Wendy and I are doing our shadow work journals. So we're working on our mental health. I'm seeing a therapist trying to get, I turned 50.
I never left mine. I've been doing therapy for 10 years.
Really? I just started therapy about a year ago. I had a nervous breakdown about a year and a half ago. So I started therapy after that, and it has been the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Don't ever come with surprise.
And as a black man, I try to when I talk to other black men, I try to make it a point to talk about mental health if I can.
Yeah. Because we were taught to pray it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you need is Jesus. Hallelujah. Let me stop.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Kendra, for being on the show today.
I'm
It was
so sorry, Pride.
very. It would I think
we
it was
had
important.
Actually, this Pride episode, I thought it was going to be like super tame, a little bit on the dull side, maybe.
Ooh.
But no, it has been
The last thing
tea and shade and drama.
Down here at Houston 365.
You know the funny thing. The first episode that I did with Wendy was the Way of Pride, and we had to keep the conversation to a certain level because there was lawsuits going on, there was stuff going on. So she couldn't name names, she couldn't do the thing because But you just went out and named names. You did everything, girl. I had a good time.
That wasn't in the court.
Exactly. So it was.
There's stuff that I can't say because that stuff will be presented at trial. But the stuff that's on the Harris County District, everybody yells transparency, and when I send you a link, what more you want us to be transparent about? I mean, you can. Oh God, I was about to say you can read, can't you? Okay.
Oh. And on that note, thank you for listening to that Little Gay Talk Show today.
Thank you for a great episode of that Little Gay Talk Show. We were here with Kendra Walker, president now of 365 Pride. And we had such a great time with her. I can't wait to have her back in January.
Oh, yeah.
When I want to get a bunch of gays in business.
You won't break our pride.
For the whole month of January. So we're looking forward to that.
You won't break our pride. You won't break our pride.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that episode. We had such a good time. And now we are out. Bye.
Bye.